powered by WCTV.tv. Eyewitness News at 6 starts now.
Waking up to a state where very likely there's been additional loss of life, and certainly there's going to be loss of property.
That is Governor DeSantis as Helene made landfall in Taylor County last night. Today, hands truly busy at work as damage from the storm comes to light. We have team coverage across the Big Bend and South Georgia today. Thank you for joining us at 6. I'm Julie Montanaro.
And I'm Jacob Murphy. We begin our broadcast with staggering drone video of Keaton Beach, a beautiful coastal community that was near the eye of the storm last night, one of many pummeled by the powerful Cat 4 hurricane. We begin with Zach Dahlheimer, who is in Taylor County for us tonight. Zach?
Yeah, good evening, Julie, Jacob, and good evening to all of you watching. Anywhere you go in Taylor County, you could feel that the energy is different now as compared to 24 hours ago, but you see a lot of scenes like the one behind me here. I want to take you in and give you a closer look at this. This looks like probably a piece of a roof or maybe a shed just all crumpled up right beside this county building. This, along with many other scenes you see here in downtown Perry and over in Keaton Beach, which has quite a bit of damage right near where Helene made landfall late last night. And right now joining me is Capital City correspondent Matt Hoffman, who, along with meteorologist Cameron Aaron, photojournalist Sam Thomas, we've been going all over Taylor County. And Matt, we've just been talking, the energy just feels different, and people, they're still, have that resiliency about them after all that's happened.
Yeah, Zach, they do have resiliency, and I would say, within the last hour or so, the county's sort of slowly coming back to life. We've heard generators. We've seen folks out on the street. That is the case here in Perry. Unfortunately, that is not the case over in Keaton Beach. Now, take a look at some of this video. A flag now raised in the coastal community, which was hit hard by the hurricane as it made landfall nearby. Boats out of the ocean and onto the land, trees down, while some elevated condos, they still hang on. These are the scenes at Keaton Beach, now locked behind a police barricade.
And then waking up this morning, just seeing everything, and then seeing videos and texts and calls from the beach and all. It's devastating down there. So we're lucky here in town and all that. So.
Now, Zach, that was one of the folks we spoke with describing, of course, the stark differences between Keaton Beach and here in Perry. Some tough scenes to swallow there.
It is tough, especially down by the coast, where the sheriff told me earlier today, the vast majority of those homes are gone. They're just gone, and they have a lot of damage and debris to pick up in weeks and months ahead. But many people, like we talked to, these business owners in downtown Perry, some of them have been in Taylor County for 7 decades, Julie and Jacob. They believe in not staying down. They're going to get up and keep on going even after 3 hurricanes in 13 months. 2 mills, including the Foley Mill, have shut down since last fall. Those are big economic drivers and were big sources of jobs for this area. But they're not going to let that break their spirit. They're going to get back up and keep on going and move forward to share the love of their community here with their neighbors and all around the Big Bend and beyond. Julie and Jacob, back to you in the studio.
And when you pair that Keaton Beach scene with the Steinhatchee situation, which we saw in our previous hours, equally devastated. It is almost too much to process, but we do appreciate you being on the boots on the ground this evening, and thank you for that report.
Well, as neighboring communities try to pick up the pieces, the pervasive belief in Tallahassee is that the capital city truly dodged a bullet.
That's right, but that didn't mean everyone escaped scot-free. This is the scene at the Steeple Club Apartments off Meridian Road this afternoon. A large pine tree came crashing down onto 2 apartments. Thankfully, we're told those residents had left town before the storm. We spoke to their neighbor who was outside watching as the tree fell.
I see what people say when they mean they freeze when things happen, because when it started to fall, I was just staring at it. I heard the huge crack, and then we just watched it just come down and destroy the house, the Jeep underneath. We live right here. A friend of ours is upstairs, so we just keep thinking, had it fallen a different direction, it might have turned out a little differently.
Certainly thankful for no injuries in this situation. Just one of hundreds of fallen trees really causing major headaches in Leon County today.
Trees and power lines coming down all across the capital city. Linemen working to restore power to thousands throughout the day today. Ryan Kelly joins us now with more on that. Ryan.
Julie, I can't tell you how many people we've talked to who are grateful and thankful here in the capital city today that Tallahassee was spared the brunt of Hurricane Helene. Of course, everyone else still keeping the Big Bend close to their heart. But that being said, that doesn't mean the major hurricane didn't come through without adverse effects, property damage, down trees, down power lines, and of course power outages throughout Leon County. That being said, City of Tallahassee Utilities, Talquin, Mutual Aid doing all they can to get folks back on the grid. Speaking with Mike Wolf of the City of Tallahassee, he told me they've been able to be very aggressive in restoring power. And as I'm sure many of you in town may have learned via text alert a little earlier today, if you're a City of Tallahassee's user, 77% of COT Utilities customers are back online. And that was as of over 3 hours ago. So that number has likely gone up, with the city estimating they'll have 90% of customers with power by tomorrow night.
You know, we started today with just slightly over 50% of our system out. We were able to get out early last night and do some preliminary assessments. We were able to really diagnose some of the key issues, and we were able to get not only our internal employees but our mutual aid help that we brought in from 10 different states and had them pre-positioned throughout our system. We were able to get them out and hitting the ground running pretty early this morning to get on some of these things and start kind of chipping away at those outages.
Now, as you heard Mike say there, 10 different states in mutual aid here just in the city of Tallahassee alone here helping us out. Josh Green and I have encountered this crew behind us that's working. They're from Lafayette, Louisiana. I almost said Lafayette as well, Josh. Lafayette, Louisiana. Of course, we've even met with crews that are from as far away as an hour outside Kansas City trying to get the Big Bend back on its feet. We cannot thank all of you brave men and women enough for trying to help the Big Bend right now. And of course, we'll continue to keep you monitored on the situation as Tallahassee and the rest of Big Bend tries to turn the lights back on. For now, Jacob, Julie, I'll send it back to you.
Absolutely, Ryan. Yes, thank you for coming to help us out.
For sure.
This is a look at the City of Tallahassee outage map right now. They've restored power very quickly. It peaked about 54,000 customers without power overnight. Now it is down to fewer than 17,000.
Of course, utility crews and linemen hard at work today and likely for the days ahead of us. Across our region, about 250,000 customers were without power at the peak right after the storm. Now nearly all the power is out for Swanee Valley Electric, folks. Still over 28,000 customers without power. Talquin Electric working with about 40% rate in terms of folks in the dark, 1,500 of those in McCullough alone. Tri-County also nearly all without power, just about 50,000 in the dark in Taylor, Madison, and Jefferson counties. And for Duke Energy, 7,000 active outages across the state translates to about 20,000 people in our neck of the woods in the dark as they work to restore power.
Tallahassee schools are slowly reopening and returning to normal. Leon County schools are going to reopen Monday. FAMU opens residence halls today and will resume operations on Monday. Tallahassee State College reopening Monday. Same for FSU. They say the power is back on. They're asking instructors to be flexible with students who are trying to get back to town and back to campus.
The tight-knit Madison County community is once again forced to pull on that support as they embark on, again, a daunting cleanup process frustratingly similar to last year's.
Yeah, our Savannah Kelly spent the day in Madison today. Savannah, the storm there left entire neighborhoods in pieces.
Yeah, Julie, Jacob, as we were driving around town today, we saw windows shattered, roofs ripped apart, and trees fallen into the road. This salon behind me looked a lot worse when we were here earlier this morning, but the owner spent all day today putting tarps up over the windows and sweeping up glass. When they first saw their business, though, after the hurricane hit, it was a shock. The unofficial motto of the Daylight Salon and Spa is to keep Madison County beautiful. But right now, it's the salon that needs a makeover.
It was a little hard to take, but we're gonna get it pretty again.
And be thankful for what we do have.
Owners Anna and Jamie Davis have been cleaning up the shop since sunrise. Hurricane Helene left them with shattered windows, roof damage, and water damage.
It was a big shock, but we've got a lot to be thankful for. And we woke up this morning thanking the Lord, you know, that we were alive and that we were safe.
The Daylight Salon and Spa has been in business nearly 19 years. It weathered Hurricanes Debbie and Idalia, but the Davises say they've never seen destruction like this.
This is my wife's business, and she's got how many How many people work with us?
7 people. So
7 people. So this is 7 people's livelihood.
19 years.
And this is 7 people's livelihood.
While it won't happen overnight, the family is determined to pick up the pieces and get back to making Madison County beautiful.
We will build this back. We just need to be thankful for it today.
Theirs is one of several businesses badly impacted by this storm. We've seen several damaged roofs, fallen awnings. We also saw a storage facility here in town that had the entire side of the building completely exposed because the sheet metal had been ripped off during the storm. So a lot of destruction here. It's going to take this community some time to rebuild. Reporting in Madison, Savannah Kelly, WCTV Eyewitness News.
Oh, Savannah, our hearts go out to those business owners and so many small business owners forced to rebuild again. Thank you.
Not everybody will be getting their lights back on today or even this weekend. In our coastal communities, the need for support is urgent right now.
Abby Walton joins us in studio. Abby, a lot of groups working to help those in those hard-hit areas, and you've been working to find out what's available for folks right now.
Absolutely, Jacob and Julie. Here are a look at some of the resources we know right now. The Salvation Army of Florida is setting up at First Baptist churches both in Perry and Live Oak. We'll have those addresses right here on your screen. Today they'll have pre-made food boxes to give out, and tomorrow they'll start a regular feeding schedule for a hot meal around noon and 5 p.m. Also, Second Harvest of the Big Bend will be giving out water, MREs, and disaster boxes tomorrow at noon. That'll take place at the Walmarts in both Perry and Crawfordville. They have enough supplies for 250 families and will be there until supplies run out. Now keep checking back on the WCTV News app and our website as this list grows. Also, if you'd like to help those impacted by Helene, Gray Media, our WCTV parent company, is partnering with the Salvation Army for Hurricane Helene relief. You can make a donation by going to helenehelp.org or scanning that QR code you see right there on your screen. When you donate, know 100% of your donation goes right back to our communities in need. Back to you.
Boy, and these resources are so needed and so appreciated at a time like this. Thank you, Abby. Coming up, far from the coast, Georgia also dealing with deadly impacts from Helene. You won't believe some of the damage in Valdosta and Atlanta. We'll show it to you after this.
Have you ever seen anything like this? An antique store in Valdosta reduced to rubble. Its brick walls collapsed during the storm last night, and Helene ripping off its roof. This historic building, one of more than 100 heavily damaged in Valdosta. Authorities said folks there were trapped inside some of those buildings. A nightmare scenario unfolding there in Lowndes County.
Flooding and damage from Helene all across the Peach State. This is drone video from Atlanta, where the fire department had to rescue people trapped by floodwaters. That storm becoming a statewide disaster. A statewide cleanup is now underway. Crews are working to restore power and get to people who are trapped.
Our Abby Kasoris joins us live now at GEMA headquarters. Abby, where are they planning to send these resources right now?
Well, down in the basement is where they have the State Operation Board, several agencies working to figure out where they should move their resources, where to move the crews, especially to some of those hard-hit areas. Most of those are south of us here in Atlanta or east of us here in Atlanta. We were there this morning as some of the reports came in. They're prioritized based on their importance, and then those crews are sent out to those locations. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp saying that most of the deaths from this storm, which have now risen to 15, are from trees that fell on both cars or on homes. Right now, he says that the priority needs to be getting to those folks in Valdosta. More than 100 people trapped within certain structures, he called them, but that could mean homes, that could be some other buildings. He also says it's really important to get back on some power in Valdosta so that they can return power to South Georgia and their medical center down there.
But we got a lot of issues statewide with the amount of rain that we've had, flash flooding, trees down, power outages literally all over the state. And I would just urge people to be weather aware and be patient. It's going to take us a long time to get to everybody. It's going to take us a long time to get the power up. But we are literally throwing every resource that we have.
This deadly storm also taking an economic toll on our state, loss of homes, loss of roads, as well as loss of farms. He says that this storm even worse based off of initial estimates from Hurricane Michael, which already hit South Georgia extremely hard back in 2016. In Atlanta, I'm Abby Kasoris.
Abby, thank you. Yes, boy, the impact of this storm just so far and so wide. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, we first brought you this camera angle out of Lowndes County last night during our continuous coverage during landfall. The center of the camera there flipping over on its side as the world for many seemingly turned upside down with Helene. When we come back, Mike breaks down what he has found out about Helene and what your weekend will look like for cleanup. Stay with us.
Welcome back, everybody. A far cry from what all of us had to deal with during the last 24 hours. That's a little more like it, and this was pretty much the view that we had. Even had a windsurfer that went zipping on by, or a parasailer rather, not a windsurfer. But it's the blue sky and the sunshine and no rainfall. That was the big story today in the wake of devastating Helene. Not only devastating here, which we know how awful it was, eastern parts of the Big Bend especially, and South Georgia especially, but as it moved up into North Georgia, the center stayed far enough east of Atlanta that it caused some catastrophic flooding in the mountains of South Carolina and North Carolina. What's left of it is now post-tropical Helene, and it's still got a large area of rainfall, but the worst of it has gone by, if that's something. These are just some of the observed peak wind gusts across our area, with Perry topping out at 99. Lowndes County Utilities, more on that in a second, hit 96. Madison EOC hitting 80. And lots of reports, 55 to nearly 70 miles per hour from Moody Air Force Base, Tallahassee Airport, VSU, and Lake Jackson. So yeah, all kinds of bad stuff. I mentioned the winds. This is a plot that shows, so the blue is those are the wind speeds, the yellows are the wind gusts, but the red is the pressure. So that's a classic shot of what it's like when a hurricane moves right over you. So this is from the Madison County EOC. Now look at what it was like at that camera that was sideways in Lowndes County, Grassy Pond Utility Station. That's where they had that wind gust to 96 miles per hour. That same inverted thing. We've got the deep V with the pressure as it rapidly bottoms out as that eye wall passes through. So really impressive stuff, courtesy of WeatherStem to pull that data up. 24 hours ago, it had become a Category 4, moved right up through the heart of our viewing area, Florida and Georgia, and then because it moved farther east, that definitely just added that just incredible rainfall that went through the mountains of South Carolina and North Carolina, and some flooding up into Tennessee as well. Those areas in yellow, those are 10 to 20 inches of rain, which fell in a relatively short period of time this morning. That's why they had all kinds of flash flood emergencies. What's interesting here, while the western areas were absolutely spared from the strongest winds, the heaviest rainfall actually was there. When you add in the 2 days, the stuff that came in ahead of it, the stuff that happened with it, with some 10-inch amounts from Gadsden County all the way down through Liberty and Franklin counties. Compare that to what's going on now. That's the good news. While there is still plenty of moisture from the leftovers from Helene well to the north, they will not reach us. Well, we will have a southwesterly wind at the low levels and upper levels. Will still produce a small chance for a stray shower, but no more than 10%. Yeah, there is a very small chance for a little weak system to perhaps develop next week and move toward the western Gulf. I don't see this being a threat at all. By the way, in case you missed it, there's a hurricane and a tropical storm out in the middle of the Atlantic, not bothering anybody. We don't care about Tropical Storm Joyce or Hurricane Isaac. Locally, hey, Thomasville's come back. That's happened in the last half hour. 81, 83 in Tallahassee. Still a nice little breeze, mainly low to mid 80s. It was a pretty warm afternoon. Humidity, it's still up around 50%, but we do still have a breeze. At times, we're still seeing some gusts up to around 20 and nearly 30 miles per hour. Those winds will gradually die down a bit tomorrow, but since the air has dried out, we start to see those lows getting a bit lower. We'll show you that in a 7-day in just a second. Southwest winds in the Gulf still kind of breezy tomorrow, 10 to 15, perhaps 18 knots. So seas will still run 2 to 4, maybe even 5 feet when you get well offshore. Comfortably mild tonight. How about 67 in the morning in the cool spots? Warm but dry in the afternoon. No more than a 10% chance for a stray shower this weekend. Lots of upper 60s. For lows, lots of highs near 90, with small rain chances and nothing tropical all next week.
Stay tuned now for the CBS Evening News. Thanks for watching.